In this lesson, we'll talk about something that I've mentioned a couple times and put off up until now, and that is the option when you go and draw cable tray and conduit, whether you say with fittings or without fittings. There's a couple of differences in there. One of them is kind of visual, and one of them has to do with scheduling. So we'll start off by talking about cable tray. So as you draw your cable tray, doesn't matter what view you're in. I'll do it in a 3D view here by picking on here. If you go with the with fittings type, so it doesn't matter which one you do, we can use the ladder cable tray. And then as I click in here and I draw and I would, pick my sizes and stuff, one of the things is that you get to put the bend radius in here, cable tray with fittings. And with conduit and stuff, we're going to see that things are a little bit different. So keep an eye out for this guy inside of here. So as I draw, I can use my shift button, of course, and then, I can click and draw as I go around, shift, as long as I provide enough room to put those bends in, etc. Okay, and then I hit escape. Okay, you'll notice that it actually is, it adds a little seam line in there. Okay, it adds in the elbow. Okay, and I think we're going to use a different, let's delete these and let's use the closed in one. It just shows up a little bit better. Cable tray, and we'll use the same with fitting, but let's use this one here. It'll show up a little better. And we'll even draw it in the plan view over here. So as I start to draw, I can click in here. I'm going to zoom in. Okay. It's going to add in my elbows as I go, as long as I provide enough room. Remember, if I go short like this and then I start to do this, I'm going to get the stop sign, etc. I need to make this long enough. Notice if you just add a little piece in, it's nice enough to heal that up for you. So as I go through here, oh, I didn't add enough. I got to go back and add a little bit more. Pick on here, work my way around, okay? So you'll notice that it's adding in the elbows, the fittings in the corners, escape, escape. But it's also adding in little seam lines, okay? And if you pick on here, it's always good to just go check on here. Okay, we can always hit our plus button in there. We know how to do that with cable tray or with conduit. Okay, but it's adding in little seam lines. I'm going to pan over here a little bit. I'm going to pick in here and pan over here a little bit. And then I'll do it again, cable tray. And this time I'll go in here and I'll say cable tray without fittings. And then at first glance, you don't really notice the difference. I'm going to do it again in this view over here. And you can go in and change your numbers and stuff over here as you work your way around. Mainly set your elevation and stuff. So I can pick on here, and as I work my way around, it's going to add in those fittings and those elbows and stuff, but you'll notice that it doesn't add in the actual seam line. So it keeps a more fluid appearance to it, both in 2D and in 3D. Okay? Click in here, use my fillet tool, see if I can trim these guys. Is there enough room? No, not enough room. Grab this guy, nudge it over with my arrow key, go back, use my trim tool, bank, bank, in we go. Okay, so you can see that with fittings, you see the seam line. With out fittings, you don't. And that's both 2D and 3D. So there's a graphical difference. And then when it comes to scheduling, you can schedule what is a cable tray run or a conduit run. They both work the same way. So if I go to my view tab here and I say view and I say, view tab, and I say schedule and I say create a quantity schedule. Down here in cables, I have cable tray runs. Okay, I have cable tray fittings, cable tray runs, cable trays. So cable tray runs, if I say length, it's only going to pick up these guys. It's not going to pick up these guys at all. If you do a length of this, it'll pick up these guys. Okay, so that's the difference. So we'll create cable tray run and hit OK. And then we'll say give me the length and hit add. I want the length of that cable tray run and click out, and it's going to create a little schedule here for me. Okay, and I'm just going to let's close this off and move this guy over a little bit. Okay. And pull this guy over. I need a little bit more room to grab that there. So notice it only found one, and that's because it's this guy. If I click on here and I say highlight in the model, it's going to show me that guy, and the only one it's going to highlight is that one, because with cable tray runs, it only picks up the cable tray without fittings. That's basically one of the differences. Now let's make another schedule. Let's go back to view and schedule, and this time we'll just do cable tray instead. And we'll say, okay, give me the length of cable tray. Hit add, hit OK. Opens up this schedule. Okay, this one has a little bit more in it. Pull this guy over here. Zoom out a little bit. Pick on one of these segments in here. It's only 7 inches. Grab this segment and say highlight in the model. There it is. Okay, close. In fact, I don't know if I even have to say highlight in model. I can just pick it. Okay, now notice this one picks up both. Okay, it's picking up both the without fittings and the with fittings. But if you go with the cable tray run schedule, it only picks up the without fittings, and that works with Conduit too. Okay, so we can even do a quick demonstration to repeat that. Okay, watch. We'll go in here. I think it's easier to draw in plan view. Back to systems, Conduit, and this time we'll start with Conduit without fittings. This guy inside of here, we'll set a nice big diameter just so it's nice and big and bold. And then off I go. Draws my elbows. Okay, you'll notice the elbows as I go. Oh, do I not have enough room? And you see that when you have that, you have to go back a step, add a little bit more, and then come back out again. Okay, so there's some Conduit. Escape, escape, pick in here, zoom in, pan over here, and do another one. And this time we'll do the with fittings. And again, just tracing around. Oh, not enough room. Pick over there. Down and over. Escape, escape. So graphically, you're going to see the seam lines. It's not going to be that nice smooth look like that. And the same thing is going to take place when you do your scheduling. View, scheduling. Go into here, we'll say Conduit runs, not just Conduit. When you do Conduit run schedule, and I hit OK and I do length and add in that, and I can say, family and type and, outer diameter. I can add in whatever properties I want. The key is it's only going to pick up the ones that have no fittings. If I pick on there, oh, it's not highlighting it for me. Highlight in model. And there it is there. Yes, and interesting. It shows all of a sudden, it shows the seam lines in here when it's closed. So when it's highlighted, you actually see the seam lines when you go over here and you go tab and pick. Okay, but generally you won't see them. And then if we change this to just say hidden line, it's going to be the same type of effect. Same as this, hidden line. Okay, so the Conduit run schedule will only pick up the Conduit that is using the without fittings. And last, just to close it off, same thing, schedule. Now we'll do Conduit, regular Conduit, like this, instead of Conduit run. and then hit OK and add in the family and the length and the count and the cost and diameters, etc. Okay, take length, move it up to the top, move it up, hit OK. Okay, it's going to give us more because it's going to count every little segment. So we can pick on here and here, highlight in model. So as we pick on these guys, once we hit the highlight in model, it continues to highlight so we can see all those different segments. But you'll notice it is including, okay, the schedule that is the regular conduit will pick up both. The schedule that says conduit run will only pick up the conduit that has the without fittings. So hopefully that was straightforward. I'm trying to speak as slow as I can so I don't slur my words and confuse you. So the difference between with or without fittings has to do with graphics and scheduling.